Hi, everyone. Hello. So today I had this genius idea. Um, I have this little ring light apparatus that my mom gave me to record, but I never used the ring light. Oh, that's interesting. There's some like tube of light energy going on today, and I wouldn't know that because I never used the ring light. But I was like, instead of using my overhead light and having a shadow, well, it's still there, but it's not from up there, it's from here today. I don't know. One of the things that's on my mind to talk about, I think in the past few days, I don't think it's necessarily been, maybe a week. I've been feeling a sort of pull on my energy, and it's gotten more pronounced at certain times than others. And there's this question that I've often asked myself. I've asked myself a few times of like, am I strong enough to face the apparent challenges of what I'm asking for? And do I trust enough to release? And because there are certain things in life that we don't know. And there's oftentimes been a question of like, if my ultimate happiness lied in one place, would I be strong enough to face the current situation, I guess, and to be present and to be kind and compassionate and patient and all of the better qualities that I have? And would I trust enough to release it? And I think in general, especially within the past few days, like 2 to 3 days more specifically, it's just been this energy of like, it's time to like lighten up. Like the heavy stuff, the like whatever. It's like it's something to hold on to. It's something to keep in my toolbox, but it's time to get back into the fun side of me. I think when I rediscovered or was reintroduced to the fire that my chart holds, or the spark within me that died in the 5th grade, it's like I sort of picked up the more defiant and outspoken side of it, but not so much like the fun loving and carefree and sociable aspect of it. And I think it's time for more of that. Um, and I have been doing things that I enjoy a lot more. Like, how do you say, Tatoeba? Is that for example? 今晩、夜遅くまでアニメが見たから、夜遅くまでアニメが見まったから、起きている. I stayed up late last night watching anime. I think that's how you say it. I don't remember. I know 夜遅くまで起きている is to stay up late. And then アニメが見たから is because I was watching anime. So you put them together. I stayed up late last night because I was watching anime. And I've been playing more games, like with my brother. And I've mentioned it, I started the thing that I was building all these spreads for. And the last one was just so, it felt just so much like what I am meant to be. One of the things that I can be doing with one of my gifts. Now, I don't think I'd be able to run like multiple people through that, like a crowd of people through that, because I like it where it's more, I like doing it with somebody that I trust, quite intimately. So, because it can really go there. And doing it with someone who's willing to go there. So, I have a lot of things to be appreciative of and to enjoy. Y'all maybe saw that my degree came yesterday. And it reminded me of some of the folks who have been there with me on my journey. And there was one person who met me like the best semester of my life, which just so happened to be the semester before the worst semesters of my life. And when when I first saw him, I was just like, ugh. And then I've met him over the summer, and he worked in a different building. But the person who was over my building, I was gone for a semester, and the semester that I was gone, she had left. And there were two people who were going to move, and there was a girl and there was a guy, and the girl was amazing, and I wanted her to be in my building so bad. And the guy is the one I was like, ugh. And the guy is the one who ended up in my building. But turns out he's been, honestly, probably the most important person in me actually handling all of the things that mentally ailed me. And he forced me sometimes to go to CAPS, which is like the little psychologists and stuff on campus, counseling and psychological services, even though I was good like most of those times. And just like his wisdom, his patience, his kindness, his hugs, girl, he gave good hugs. He a Taurus. And then even like my buddy Sonny, like our relationship started out so rocky. And it's interesting because I see some parallels between that relationship and some other relationships that I have. But in my relationship with Sonny, I was me and he was him. But now in some other spaces, it's like I'm him being asked to have the patience and the compassion to sit with and be with some folks who are the me, or who was me. And that was me reaching my breaking point, beginning to try to do some things, and then just like really going for it. And Sonny he's taught me so much through the space of trial and tribulation. But the prevailing question is like, who do I want to be? And how do I want to be? And the person that I want to be is the most me. So that's just something that's been coming to my mind a lot lately. And especially yesterday. I had to shout out all my peoples. I had to give my thank yous for seeing me through literally the worst. Like, he met me at the worst point of my life. And we had a very close, very intimate relationship. Not sexually, just platonically intimate, in a space where I wasn't even like, it's not that I wasn't capable, it's just like I had absolutely no patience. And he's from a completely different culture, let alone being a completely different type of person. Not completely different type of person, but he's the Libra that I talk about sometimes. But through the space of all of that, it's like we continued trying. Even when I was like extremely upset and just ready to be done. And even when he was upset because I was upset and ready to be done. And I promised him that I wouldn't just be done without telling him. And knowing who I was at that point in time, I don't know why I made that promise. Because I really don't know why I made that promise. But him holding me accountable to that has just it's shaped and reformed my life forever, because it's like he, in some ways, whether he knew it or not, but God and Spirit and the universe knew what they were doing when they brought us into each other's experience. It was exactly what I needed to start to regain and to find my way out of the hole that I had dug for myself for like at least like 9 to 10 years. Because it was like seventh grade ish when I made that decision to just like not get close to people. So I'd say I was about maybe 12 to 14. How old are people in the seventh grade? Because you're like 5 when you go into kindergarten. So like 12 to 13. And then until I was like 24. So, and I remember like opening up to him, and I cried and he cried. And it was something that I didn't think that I could trust him with. But it turns out I could. He just didn't have the context to know why I was going through what I was going through. He was like, "Oh, I'm glad you told me, because now this makes so much more sense." And I really didn't think from our previous encounters, whenever I would start to get like emotionally charged, I really didn't think he would be capable of like handling that, but he was a lot more so. And maybe like that's the redeeming power of Libra that I wasn't seeing when I was an emotional fish deep diving and just. But anyway, things are better now. And it's funny because he asked me like how I got over my depression, and I remember that night it was two of the people who were closest to him were like depressed AF, and he was like, "I can't do anything to help like either one of you." It was just like, it was a moment. I think that was one of my core memories that I'll never forget. And I feel like lately I've within the past year or so, maybe year and a half or so, I feel like I've been able to see how certain experiences in my past, where I was on the receiving end of kindness and patience and compassion, I can see now where I'm sort of being asked to do the same thing. And since I remember receiving it, it's like not only do I know how validating and comforting it feels to receive it, but I'm also prepared in ways to give it should I make that choice. And that's the question. It's like, who do I choose to be? Who am I going to choose to be? So I don't know. I don't know why I felt compelled to share that. But let's get back into this. Let's see what's up today. So yesterday our card was the Eight of Wands. And then we looked at the cleaners and all that jazz. Let's see. Today it's going to be the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles is interesting coming out of that Eight of Wands energy, because the Queen of Pentacles is who I went looking for in the cleansing on the SKT. Let me hold her up. There she is, the Queen of Pentacles. Oops. And it feels like there's this like big old full moon behind her. Queen of Pentacles is Capricorn energy. So full moon in Capricorn is the sun in Cancer. So the sun is sitting in the space of the feminine side, intuition, and emotion, while the moon is in the space of structures and foundations. And so maybe that's relevant because with the sun being in Cancer, there's like this, like that's what's illuminated to us. That's what we can see. That's what we can feel more tangibly, but not like a punch. It's not an emotional feeling necessarily. I mean, it is, but it's like when you go outside and you can feel the warmth of the sun. Like that's something that you physically feel, but it's not anything that you feel because of something that you can tangibly see. And it's different than being internally affected by something because it's a physical sensation. So there are these things that it's like these experiences are these things that move us in a physical way with an emotional backstory or basis, but it causes this sensation of warmth. And then on the moon side, the moon receiving all of that, it's like I just watched Inside Out. It's like it creates that core memory. And it's like it becomes a building block in what is a better, newer, more stable, more healthy, more whole, more healed emotional framework. Because if it were the sun in Capricorn, then that would be like a time where like you were cold. And it's kind of the same, but instead of it being like primarily emotionally focused, it's like primarily physically focused. Like maybe there was a time that you were without for a minute and then you got something. Right? Maybe you were homeless and then you got a house. Or you needed a job and then you got a job. And then with the moon being in Cancer, that physical stability or that outward stability gave you some sort of like mental emotional peace and clarity. Maybe you felt that like God had not abandoned you that day because he had met your need. But it's like the flip of that. And it's holding this space right here. It's like this is the outside view. It's like this color from the outside, but it's this color on the inside. And oh, that's why, maybe because all of these white things. Now that the white things are coming out, that's why we see it as white. It's all playing out. But that's a space that we hold. And yesterday, the first thing that was like immediately after the Queen of Pentacles, the Ebony Shield, was the Corruptor and the Reaper. And so it's like more often than not, we hold on to the not great things of the past. And that's what we project forward. That's what this is. It's like a projector. It projects what's on the inside, outside. But it's like a two-way mirror. 1 second. I'm back, y'all. It's like it's this inside, outside, outside, inside thing. And again, with the cleaners, the only things that make it out of the projector are the things that don't get cleaned, that don't get scrubbed. And it's like maybe sometimes we'll get bits and pieces of something. But again, with these things, it's like they unfold outside of you, but they have to compress themselves to make it out. And so what it becomes in the end and what it started as, there's so much in between that is that white divine light, like live life and then the color, like it will color itself type of energy. Hold on, wait, let's see if I'm so bad at this. There we go. Hold on, wait. You think I'd be better? There we go. There we go. It's all going to the light. um, it plays out. It unfolds. We discover more as we go along, and sometimes there's a piece and a part of us that knows that it's one of those things that we asked for, but we don't understand why. And that's where the element of trust comes in, and that's also where strength comes in. The strength to see it through, trusting, knowing that whatever you feel is right. And that's also where discernment is important, because discernment will help us differentiate our intuition from our fear, from our anxiety, from our worry, from our concern, from our depression, from our anger, from our upsetness, from our need for something to conform to something that we already know. And it tells us the truth of what it is. And discernment, I think it's something that at least I'll speak for myself, it's something that I had to relearn after I came into a space of healing. Because what was discernment before, or what felt like discernment before, I realized after I started to change, there was this voice that would sort of like speak to previous experiences or previous concerns or previous worries, right? Like I haven't been diagnosed to suffer from anxiety, and I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder back in the day in a previous life of this incarnation. I I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder, and I feel like if I had an anxiety, it would have been diagnosed at the same time. And I only say that because one of my friends, one of my Piscean buddies that I met 2019 summer on campus, I was like, okay, so this is why I'm on campus this summer. You cool? You cool? He was like, really, Patrick? You don't have anxiety? I was like, no, not that I think, not that I'm aware of. Like, I got major depressive disorder, but I ain't got no anxiety. But I can have a little bit of social anxiety sometimes, but everyone can have a little bit of social anxiety, right? So it's not like it doesn't impact me to the degree that it's diagnosable, right? I have a more regular, I don't want to say regular, a more standard amount of anxiety. It doesn't really like influence me too much. And that's what the depression's for in my life. Some people have both, or some people have more of one than the other. Anyway, there was a little bit of like, oh, but like what if I have to sit by somebody that I don't know? What if they talk to me and I don't know what to say? And then what if I want to leave and I can't just leave? That's like my thing is like I love to just be able to leave whenever I want to leave. And you can't always do that. So, and sometimes it's like I realize sometimes that I look for excuses to leave. And so sometimes I also have to ask myself, like, is this legitimate and valid? Or am I just like looking for something to just leave? Something. Am I looking for something to give me permission to leave? Because now I'm trying to not just leave things. I'm learning how to stay in spaces, which Sunny helped begin to teach me. Helped begin to teach me. Yeah. Helped to begin teaching me. But there was like that nagging feeling like, oh, something doesn't feel right. Something doesn't feel right. Maybe I shouldn't go. Then I was like, wait. I was like, okay, hold up. Wait, let's think about this. Let's give a little context to these feelings, right? This isn't something that I was feeling at all since I agreed to do this. Something that initially interested me a lot. Something that felt really, really good when it came to me. And I am closer to going now than I was then. Now, does this feel like something that is true? Or does this just feel like nervousness? Like, let's analyze our thoughts real quick. And let's break this down. Let's use some discernment. And that's when I was like, okay, so my primary concerns in this situation are, what if I have to sit by somebody that I don't know? What if I have to like speak? What if I want to leave and I can't leave? Like, none of those things are like, this is a bad idea, I shouldn't do this, right? Like, this is a bad idea, I shouldn't do this would be like who are the people running this function? Is it gonna be safe? Like, is there security or something? I don't know. Even those can sometimes be, you know what I mean? It's just like I could see where all of that stuff was coming from. It was all coming from generalized social anxiety. I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, this is not a bad idea, and I'm still gonna do this. I'm gonna be like nervous and kind of scared AF, nervous AF and kind of scared, but and it's like after I sorted that out, I was like, this is still a good idea. Like, I'm still excited to do this. And the times that I did that, some of the best experiences that I had, it was just generalized anxiety. It was nervousness. But in the moment it felt like something more. And that's something that we all learn for ourselves. And that's one of those, maybe more so on the side of the Queen of Swords. It's like cleaning from the Queen of Swords instead of cleaning from the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles is like, I feel like it's something physical. But just like the warmth of the sun, it doesn't necessarily have to be physical in the sense that it's like someone like pushing you. It doesn't have to be tangible. And so that could be like, let's say that you're manifesting abundance, but you always, like, you have a gambling problem. And so it's like before you can actually accumulate that abundance, you're spending it. And that's something that's like, it's physical. It's a behavior or mindset or pattern that you have that would physically cause for you to interact with what it is that you're manifesting in a way that would nullify, lessen, or cancel it out. Well, nullify is canceling it out, right? So let's say also, for whatever reason, you want to be healthier, and there's something that you have to cut out of your diet for health reasons. Maybe your body just starts reacting to it not that greatly. Um, and it's like you want to be healed from that, or you want to feel better in your body, but you don't want to cut that food out of your diet. Now that's more so to like emphasize the nature of these things rather than it being an actual example. Like, there's something that directly interacts with it, but physically on the earth side, you wouldn't interact with it in a way to draw out the blessing and abundance. You would kind of sort of squander it or nullify it or lessen it. And that's her side. The Queen of Swords side, that's more so like the mental side of it, right? That's where the anxiety might come in, or like depression or fear or worry, or like, I can't do this, or the narratives that other people spin on us. Now, when it comes to other people in our environment, you go. Anyway, when it comes to other people in our environment, there's a mix of earth and a mix of air. because they're physically there, like in your ear, and that can affect you and impact you. But if you are mentally shielded, then their thoughts, their projections won't, like, you won't hold on to them. It'll be like in one ear and out the other. So that's where it gets a little mixed up. But with this Queen of Pentacles, so those are the things here. Those are all of the little energies sort of swirling around. That Sun in Cancer, full moon in Capricorn energy of like a physical experience bringing you happiness, joy, some levity or warmth, and then building an emotional background off of that, because the moon's back in Capricorn, sort of building this lunar mansion based off of these solar experiences. And there's the thing again about your patterns, behaviors, and ways of being that would negatively impact, affect, nullify, lessen, or diminish what it is that you're wishing to manifest. There's also a need to be grounded and stable and nurturing and caring enough within yourself that not only are you not nullifying, canceling, and all of that stuff, you're actually feeding into it, you're nurturing it, because again, it's coming to you 2D before it becomes less abstract, more defined, and then it becomes the fullness of what it is that you asked for. So, with that being said, I'm going to end this here today. I hope you have a good whatever whenever you see this, and I hope you are acting in alignment to make that wish you wish to experience your reality. And I'm good with this today. I think the thing that I did yesterday, the cleansing, was pretty good. I mean, the Queen of Pentacles was literally the first card that came out, with the Magician over to the side. The things that we wish to manifest or make real. But it requires us to know how to utilize the tools, both internal and external, to do that. All right? So I'll see y'all tomorrow with the fifth day. Bye.